Back here on Hawks Sports Talk, we'll move into our players segment. We have the right-handed pitcher, the junior from the baseball team, and Kyle Gauthier joining us from Lynn, Massachusetts. And you guys are now 17 games into the season. You started off down south. You went out to Utah for a little bit, now back here in the Northeast, and climate's changed a bunch of different places. How have you adapted to that, and how has it changed your game plan and approach when you're pitching?
Well, for the most part, I think the game plan, it stays the same depending on each hitter. I mean, mostly at least for myself, I go in there and wanting to establish my fastball and then get ahead and then being able to finish the guys when I can and then giving us a chance to win every game.
Do you find yourself when it's cold outside like it's been, are you a sleeve guy, non-sleeve guy?
I've always been taught to wear sleeves to protect your arm, I guess.
Okay. That's not too shabby. So last time out, weekend series against Maine, you guys were supposed to play a 3-game series. You wound up playing just one. You had to remove a bunch of snow, and you probably got out of that because you were the starting pitcher. But you go down 3-0, and you had a battle from behind, and I thought that in that ball game you got stronger and kind of off of your momentum, the offense started to chip away, and it wound up becoming a 10-5 come from behind win. Just take us in that game again where you go down 3-0 in the beginning to your counterpart, and how did you get your mental status back into the mix?
Well, going down 3-0 it's always tough, especially in the first inning. It's happened, I think, the last like 3 starts now have been letting up a couple runs in the first inning, but I think later on towards the game goes on, I figure out what they can't hit and what they're either smashing into the ground or popping up or even striking out on. So as long as I can figure that out early in the game, I think we're going to be okay and going to give them a chance to win. You know, hitters came through 4th, 5th inning, I think it was, when maybe Heath from Maine got a little tired or made a few mistakes, and then we put the pressure on them, and they made 3 errors or so.
So now as a junior, you had your biggest improvement from your freshman year. We had a 6.60 ERA to your sophomore year at 3.02, currently right now at 4.37 with a 2-3 record. Where was the maturation process from your freshman year where you kind of just went out there and pitched, and then your sophomore year where you actually learned how to pitch and now you're establishing yourself into a routine and what you need to do?
I think as a freshman you come in and you know you have something decent in your repertoire as for pitches, but you don't really know how to use them. Sophomore, junior year, I think you're learning how to establish your fastball, how to throw your breaking ball for a strike, and even and add in a changeup or a slider or something else that'll mess a hitter's timing up.
I hear with Coach Blood, we talk about improving, getting smarter, and being wiser. So when you're going the second time through the lineup and maybe your third time through the lineup like you did over the weekend, what adjustments are you making with your battery mate?
Well, first you got to take into account what the umpire's giving you. Is he giving you off the plate? Is he squeezing you? What kind of swing does the hitter have? Does he have a long swing? Is he straight to the ball? Whether it's long, you want to get in on him, and then he'll just get jammed, roll it over, and then establishing your breaking ball. That's another big pitch because that could fool him up pretty easily as well.
We're here on Hawks Sports Talk. We're sitting down with the right-handed pitcher, Kyle Gauthier from Lynn, Massachusetts, of the baseball team. And this past year, 3 players, get drafted into the major leagues, and one of the key guys is Sean Newcomb, a lefty. He's a pitcher, so kind of take us a little bit inside of that relationship that you built with Sean. And, we were just talking before we got on the air here about the mental status of it. What have you learned from him? Because right now you're filling in some big shoes.
Yeah, coming in, letting him throw the Friday game was fun and enjoyable to watch last year. But he taught us more of how to pitch with a crowd, because you see every game there's 15, 20 scouts, maybe a couple GMs. And he never got rattled. He was never like uptight. He was always loose. He was always that guy that we can depend on. And I think that kind of wore off on Brian Hunter, Alex Cohen, James Alfonso. So they gave them a chance by having Sean drag in all the scouts to give more teams a look at these 4 guys that could potentially be in the big league someday.
Now, how do you kind of learn from that, as you're one of the leaders on this team right now, and there's a lot of freshman pitchers that need to learn how to utilize all their bags of tricks in their repertoire?
I think one of the biggest things is setting an example. I think I do a good job of this. I've gone down 3-0 in the first inning, but I don't lose my head. Like I'm still in the game, and I'm gonna come back. I'm not gonna go 1 or 2 innings and have the bullpen take over when I know we have some young guys that they can probably handle it, but can they handle it mentally?
Now, you guys are still early on in the season, 3-1 record in conference play, coming off a program record 31-win season last year, made it to the America East tournament. In your honest opinion, how far can this team go this year?
If we have all the tools together and we're playing good at the right time, I think we can go pretty far. I think we have a good chance of winning our actual conference, but we have to play together and we have to mature very quickly. The other teams they've matched up against Florida, like teams down south, so they're not going to be scared of us. We have to instill fear in them.
All right, I like the attitude and the approach, but always great watching you pitch. Keep up the good work and look forward to your next outing.
Thanks for having me.
That's the right-handed pitcher, the junior from Lynn, Massachusetts, of the baseball team, and Kyle Gauthier. We'll take a break here on Hawk Sports Talk. When we come on back, we'll come up with that special guest that I mentioned earlier in the program here on 91.3 FM WWH. Back here on Hawk Sports Talk, we'll move into our special guest segment as we have the Assistant Director of External Relations and Brian Mick, the former assistant coach for the women's basketball team. And last time we saw you out getting prepared with some alumni for the championship game for women's basketball and handing out T-shirts and all that stuff. We've talked before at halftime, but how is that transition, especially a championship game where you normally are on the sidelines? Now you're getting the crowd all pumped up. How is that transition for you?
It's been great. The weekend up in Albany for the championship game was it was good. We got a lot of alumni back. We got some donors that came up and wished the team off well at the hotel, and then going over to the game. You think back in your mind. I've been here a lot of times, but it was really good to be there and support the kids and the team and the kids that I recruited to see them play in their final game. And it was just a little different watching it from the sidelines, but I was there to cheer them on, and I wanted them to win as much as everybody else did.
Do you still find either parents or alumni or whoever still asking you coaching questions, what would you do in this situation?
Yeah, actually they were doing it on Friday up in Albany in the championship game. But, I kind of stepped away a little bit and said, you know what, they know what they're doing. They've won enough championships that, it was fun. It was a good time. And, it really hurts that they couldn't get a W. But, some of the injuries hurt them. But, they'll be there again there next year.
They definitely will be. So now in your new role, you're kind of transitioning. I guess it's still like recruiting, but you're recruiting more of having alumni kind of giving back with fundraising. You're doing events. You're talking to former student athletes. So do you find that it's an easy transition for you, and just in reality you have more time with your family at home?
Yeah, actually, it is like recruiting. You deal every day on a basis of alumni, former student athletes, donors. In 15 years of coaching women's basketball, you meet a ton of people, and you meet a ton of donors. And I think the transition, that's helped me out a ton. Still, talking to them and saying, hey, listen, talking about giving back and why you want to give back and why you want to help, not just, the men's and women's basketball programs, but also the golf programs, the soccer programs, the baseball, the lacrosses. Hey, listen, any little donation will help everybody out. So, the transition's been a little bit easier.
I personally agree with that. Each year at my alma mater in Oswego, not that I'm donating thousands of dollars, but I feel like people, when fundraising comes around, they feel like you need to give a large donation. But, I donate $50 to $100 every year. And if you get, 10, 20, 100 people just like me, that still adds up. Do you find that, you have to kind of simplify it to people? Like, you don't need to give me a check for 10 grand. If you give me a check for 500, that still counts.
Absolutely. You always like to get, the 1 or 2 donors that give a substantial amount of money, but anything that anybody gives always helps out. We started a new fundraising program that just went out called the Fly High Fund. And then another letter will go out in July to start the organization. So there's one big fundraising aspect where, let's say, Brian, you wanted to donate to women's basketball. You could still donate to women's basketball, but you also can donate now to the Fly High Fund, which will help with advancements of scholarships to some of the programs that don't get full amount of scholarships, to maybe helping out with a new building or whatever our new athletic director, Anton Goff, sees the money to put forth that he wants to do with it.
We're here on Hawks Sports Talk. We're sitting down with the Assistant Director of External Relations and former assistant coach of the women's basketball team, and Brian Mick. And you didn't hear the segue into this, but I said the guy that delivers warm weather, as we're going to be talking about a couple of golf tournaments coming up that'll benefit men's and women's soccer. It'll be on Monday, May 4th at the Wampanoag Country Club in West Hartford, and then men's and women's basketball golf tournament that'll be on Tuesday, May 12th at the Tumblebrook Country Club in Bloomfield, Connecticut. These are two events I've been able to be lucky enough to attend. The men's and women's basketball one a couple of years ago. Not only does it benefit both the programs in men's and women's soccer and men's and women's basketball, it's a good time to kind of get to know the student athletes and the coaches. And despite the fact that it's not their particular sport, you still find that the coaches are still very competitive. But if I'm an outsider kind of thinking about this, just talk about the field because you've been a part of them, and it actually is a very good atmosphere and loose, and you get to learn about the program a little bit more.
Yeah, the first one, the men's and women's soccer golf tournament that's on Monday, May 4th, that you said, it's a great day. They usually get around 120 golfers or so at Wampanoag Country Club, and it's a fun day. It'll start off at 12 o'clock, but right before that it'll be lunch, and then 12 o'clock shotgun start, and then everybody golfs all day, and then I'll have a cocktail hour and dinner, tons of prizes, tons of raffles, and it's a good day to come out and support, Tom Poitras and John Nattel's teams. The players will be there. Haven't really decided yet on how we're going to handle that, if we're going to put them on a tee, but we're just hoping that one, we get great weather, and two, we get enough support that the guys can come out. It's $170 to golf. We also have different sponsorship levels, so if anybody's out there that wants to play or wants to sponsor, definitely get in contact with me. And it's a great day. We do a great job with that. And then, a week and a day later, we have the men's and women's basketball golf tournament. And that's, Tuesday, May 12th at Tumblebrook Country Club. That's another great event. Coach Rosati and Coach Gallagher will be out there. They play golf. They have a lot of fun. Coach Gallagher does a great job. I mean, you can hear him if you're on hole 2 and he's on hole 9. You can definitely hear him yelling and screaming.
He doesn't have that golf etiquette.
No, definitely not. But it's another great day, and that one is $300 per golfer. We also have tons of sponsorship opportunities in that. That's also 11:30 registration, lunch, and then we go about a 1 o'clock shotgun start, cocktail hour, dinner, and then tons of awards. And that's a great day also. So anybody that's out there that wants to play in either one of the tournaments, please give me a call. Also, if there's people out there that want to sponsor, that's another great way to get your name out there. We have sponsorship opportunities from a lunch sponsor to a reception sponsor to a tee sign sponsor, where your name or your business would be right there on one of the tees. So please, if you know anybody or you want to join and golf with either one of these coaches, please give me a holler.
And you can get more information at hartfordhawks.com. You can contact Brian Mick at mik@hartford.edu. That's mik@hartford.edu. And, I think for a lot of people, they quickly think of, the money, that seems like a lot of money. But in reality, what the money does, it benefits the programs, and you get to know a little bit more about the teams, and you have a different rooting aspect because you sat down with a couple players, got to learn about where they're from, what they do, and how they really do love the sport that they play in, and, why they chose the University of Hartford, which is good. But hopefully you guys get good weather. It's one of those situations where I feel like winter's just extending here into the spring, but either way, I think, as long as the course is ready to go, you guys will go out there and hack away.
Yeah, I've talked to both courses, and they've told me that, you're all right. If it was a little bit earlier, maybe in April, we'd be maybe having to wear boots because it'd be a little bit wet and sloppy. But they've said everything is good to go. We're praying for good weather. The weather's been great the last 2 years in both, so I think we'll be okay. It's a great day to come out. You get to see the coaches and the student athletes in a different environment,
which is
and
important.
The coaches are great. I mean, they have a blast. It's a full day event. But if there's anybody out there, please definitely shoot me an email and I'll make sure I get you in the field.
And all the programs are definitely coming off a successful season. So you're now going to be wrapping up almost a year now in your new position, and they say that big change is never easy. And kind of looking back and knowing the fact that it'll be a year underneath your belt, you did 15 years of coaching. How do you like your new lifestyle and your new role and the big change in your life?
I like it a lot. Change is always good, and I said that back when I took the position. People are sometimes reluctant to make changes, but I thought the change has gone very, very well. I like it a lot. I still deal with a lot of the coaches, and I think that's good because coaches, and I saw it because I coached for 15 years, coaches have got to be able to recruit, and win basketball games. Now I step back a little bit, and I can help them on the other side of fundraising, get them in front of some people that maybe they don't know about, bring them to games, get the coaches to say, hey, listen, come to my game, watch my players play, and that takes the burden off of them. Now, they still do some fundraising, but you want to take some of that off of them so they can go out and win championships, and that's what we know what it's all about.
Mick, always a great time catching up. Thanks for stopping in.
You got it, Brian.
That's the Assistant Director of External Relations, and Brian Mick. As I mentioned, you can get more information at hartfordhawks.com or by contacting him about the golf tournaments coming up on Monday, May 4th and Tuesday, May 12th, benefiting men's and women's basketball and men's and women's soccer by contacting him at mik@hartford.edu. We'll take a break here on Hawks Sports Talk. When we return, we'll take a sneak peek at the week ahead in Hartford Athletics. You're catching all the action here on 91.3 FM WWH.